Hello and welcome to a special early release episode of the HaskinCast Podcast. I'm your host, Scott Haskin, and I'm here with another absolutely wonderful guest, Victoria Sandoval, my dear new friend, who is absolutely awesome and bubbly and wonderful and very creative and dedicated to her art. And she has a lot of things going on. Some of them are a little bit time sensitive, which is why I'm releasing this episode a couple of days early. So first and foremost, she is in the running currently as of right now when I'm recording this, which I recorded her interview a few days ago, but she is in the running for the cover of Maxim magazine. That's huge. So she is, as of right now, in the top 5 of her group. And I don't know how far they whittle this one down to before they start merging groups. I think there's 2 or 3 more rounds yet to go. But she's holding strong at number 2, which is absolutely fantastic. And she deserves it. She's a wonderful person. And so she has, in the show notes, we've got the link to vote if you like her and you would like to see her on the cover. And also we have a link to her YouTube video where you can watch that and listen to her talk about what it means to her to be on the cover of Maxim and why she's doing this and the benefit that other people are getting from this. This isn't just a contest about being on the magazine. It's also about helping people. And so she'll talk about that in the video. And we also talk about that on the podcast as well. But I like the YouTube video because it's honest. It's not her trying to be anybody. It's just, this is why this means something to me. And if you want to vote, vote. So we have both of those links in the show notes. The second time-sensitive thing and reason that I'm releasing this one a couple of days early is that she is also involved as a makeup artist on the event for Dark Side in Riverside. This is an event in California that is sort of a zombie run with a twist. And some great people are going to be there. Linda Blair will be there, who I had the pleasure of meeting a few years ago. And we had a wonderful interaction at a con that she was at in, I think it was Tempe, Arizona. So that probably would have been, it was maybe shortly before I moved to LA. So I think that would have been in 2014, like spring of 2014, or it could have been earlier, but definitely not later than that because it was in Arizona and I moved in July of 2014 to California. So go check it out. If you're in the Riverside area and want to have some fun, go. Now, this is 2019 when I'm recording this, and I don't know if this is going to be a recurring event or not. So click, whether you're listening to this in 2020 or 2021 or 2049, click on that link. And if the website still exists, then you can see if they're still doing the event or not. Hopefully they will, because it sounds like a cavalcade of fun. If I had the opportunity, I would certainly be going. So a couple updates on what's going on here before we start our interview with the lovely Victoria. I was invited to help out with audio on a play, and they have a 2-week run, and I was brought in for 2 rehearsals and 3 performances, and just did the last performance today with an absolutely wonderful group of students who have a passion for audio and sound design and making theater a wonderful thing. And audio is such a vital part of that. You know, you can forgive somebody missing a lighting cue. You can forgive somebody missing a line of dialogue or coughing or something. But, you know, if the audio is bad, no one's going to have a good time. So it's very, very important that time be spent on audio. And these students were just amazing at how passionate they were, how eager they were to learn, how they listened, how they verified that they understood the information, that just everything that they could do to make it as good as it can be. And I have so much respect for that. And they were just an absolute delight to work with, made it a wonderful experience for me. And I have the deepest respect for them. And I hope I get to work with them again, even though I really don't do a lot of theater anymore. They're very, very tense situations. It's a lot of stress, the way that they're done. Most of them, I mean, I've had some good experiences here since I've been to Vegas, but, you know, it's a big difference between doing theater and doing live concerts, which is what I used to do when I lived in Colorado. And it's a whole different focus. And it's certainly something I can do, but it's not really something that I kind of enjoy anymore. And, you know, with having other things going on now with the podcast and albums coming out and all that, it's hard to find the time in my scheduling to actually make it work with the theater schedule. I was lucky this time. It happened to just fit right in that pocket where I could move things around. And I'm really glad because, like I said, I got to meet some pretty incredible people. The show was called The Fun Home. And it's a really interesting story. And if you get the chance, go see it because it's a good show. And this cast, especially today, I have to say they really brought it. It was very emotional, very powerful. But I still don't understand what the hell is going on with the standing ovation. Why don't people do that anymore? There's always like, a handful of people that stand up and everyone else just sit there. Is it that we're just lazy and can't get up? Is it we've been sitting for 2 hours and it's just too hard to get up off of your chair? Is it people really don't appreciate the art that they're seeing anymore? To me, it's just such a natural thing. I don't care if I'm the only one in the theater that's standing up. I'll stand up. I know how hard those people work. And that's one of the things, as I've said in the past, when I'm hoping to enlighten people with this podcast is to bring people on that do the behind the scenes work, like Victoria, who works on the makeup side of the films. And she does modeling and other things as well. But when it comes to the films, for the most part, she does a lot of the background support work that help make these things look as good as they do and feel as good as they do. And they don't pull you out of it and make you go, this doesn't feel right, like this isn't natural or whatever. So the makeup artists have a great importance in film projects. So hopefully with bringing folks on like that, it helps give you a more rounded understanding and appreciation of these different projects, whether it's on the stage, the screen, YouTube, whatever it is. There's so much that goes into it more than just the final video that you guys see. What else is happening? We are a week and a half away now, just under 2 weeks, I should say, for the release of Haunted Holidays Deadly Christmas 3. That will be coming out October 18th in digital only formats. There are a lot of reasons I don't do CDs that much anymore. Is really thinking about, my carbon footprint here. And you look at the CD case is going to be plastic or paper. And then you've got whatever the material is that they use to make the actual CD. Then you've got the shrink wrap, and then you've got the insert card and all that. And it's just, to me, when we had albums, that was one thing. You had a 12-inch cover. You could see the artwork. You could read it. You would have the insert for sometimes lyrics and liner notes and things like that. And since you can't barely read anything in the CD book, and it takes you 45 minutes to open the CD case, that's just a ridiculous waste of time on the fact of all the materials that are used to manufacture those. So since we can do things that are digital, I'm much happier to do that. I do download cards sometimes. And you can get those directly through me if you want to write me at scott@scotthaskin.com for some of the projects I have out. I do have some download cards left. But the one CD that I do have some left is the Mental Sauna 3 Christmas Inflections album. And I'm going to be doing something special with that starting on Thanksgiving. And I'll have more details later on sometime in November as I finalize all of that. I'm trying to wiggle that through with promoting the album, and then got pulled away to do the show. So my time on the show is done and I can get back to promoting the album. The other thing is I will be headed up to Sedona this weekend to do the UFO tour that I had to cancel a few weeks ago due to a family health issue. And I was perfectly happy to do that. That's far more important. But I'm going to head back up to Sedona and visit our podcast friend, Michael. And I'm sure that we'll spend half the night talking about music, and then we'll do the UFO tour, and then we'll spend the rest of the night talking about music. It's all kinds of things as we tend to do. So I'm really looking forward to that. Michael was on, I think early this year, I want to say. And then I had Carla on a couple of months ago. Both just wonderful people, very, very dear friends of mine. And really looking forward to seeing them and seeing how this podcast comes out, because this is the first one that I will be just turning the tape on, no editing. Obviously, I'll clean the audio, whatever we get, and we'll just see how it goes. And hopefully it comes out and it's a great podcast. That will be coming out around Halloween, if not on Halloween night. I'm not sure yet. That's about it. So let's get to our interview. And do check out her YouTube video that I have the link of in the show notes. It's under the Maxim cover contest header. There's the link to vote for her, and then the link to the YouTube video. And let's see what she has to say. All right, ladies and gentlemen, I am very, very excited to bring you my next guest, who has so many things going on. I'm not even going to explain them all right now. We're just going to talk about them as we go. One of the sweetest, most dedicated, hardworking people I know, Victoria Sandoval. Victoria, how are you doing today?
Hey, I'm doing great. Thanks for asking.
Absolutely. Thank you for coming on the show.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
I don't know how you find the time to even email me, let alone find the time to come on the show. Your schedule is one of the craziest that I've seen so far.
You got to make time.
You do.
Definitely got to make time.
You do. I just interviewed Dee Wallace the other day, and she's done over 200 movies. Plus, she was on The Office. She did a stint on General Hospital, and then she has a radio show. And I'm like, I always thought I was a busy person, but I look at you guys, and you guys make me look like I just sit in a chair staring out the window all the time. How do you do it?
You just kind of get up and do it. The motivation is doing the work because I love it and I'm passionate with it. I don't know, it kind of runs me. It gets my energy going. It keeps my stamina going. When we have those really long days, 12, 14-hour days, it only feels like it's been an hour or two. Right. Just because I enjoy what I do.
I think that's the thing is when you find your actual, true, natural passion, it doesn't seem like work. It might at times, or facets of it might seem like work, but in general, you just love doing what you do. Otherwise, why would you choose to do that?
Exactly. I'm like when it's hour 10, I'm still doing the Running Man. Singing gummy bear songs to people, like trying to get them up and going, whatever can get them motivated too. Yeah. They're doing it.
I could see you being a total cheerleader on set for sure.
I am.
You and I met at, what was it called? Phoenix Fan Fusion this year in, late May. And you were doing makeup and hair for Summer's speech. And we had Jessica Einhaus on. We also had Ellie Cat on the show, and Summer was on last year. And what just blew me away about you right off the bat was here everybody's stressing out that you guys have to be in there in 2 minutes, and you're just very calmly doing your job. Nothing really seems to be bothering you. All the stress around you, you're just so serene. Is that something that you just naturally do?
Yes, actually, I think I work better under pressure. I find a little calmingness in it at the same time. Mm-hmm. And I just get my focus on and do what I got to do to get done, what I need to get done, and everything just kind of falls into place. But that was fun.
That was a fun night. Mm-hmm. That really was. But it just blew me away because most people I've seen in situations like that, they show some sign of stress. Even if they have it under control, there's some element that you can kind of see a little sweat forming on the brow, and, they start getting a little sloppy, but you were just so even keel. I was blown away because I've not seen people very often be able to pull that off.
Thank you. Thank you.
Absolutely. And so for those of you who don't know, she is mainly does hair and makeup, and she does some special effects work as well, which we're going to talk about. But you work a lot on movies, and you were part of Maya that Jessica Einhaus and Victoria Page were involved in. And how did you like being on that set?
That was a fun set. I actually had a lot of fun on that set. A lot of interesting things, that had happened that I enjoy, and I save those memories. Because whenever there's stuff behind the scenes, you can always laugh about that.
Oh, sure.
Because we were shooting, outside at night, and one of the days was after, it was Easter, and you never wear white on set. Like, that's just the thing, because it's bounce. Mm-hmm. But I had to go from one place to another, so that's what I was kind of stuck with.
Oh, no.
So I'm staying far away as I could, so I wasn't the bounce. And I do have platinum blonde hair too, so I always try to stay clear of set.
Right.
But I was the animal collector of all the bugs that were flying around. I actually got kicked in the face by a praying mantis, and I will never forget that.
Oh, that's so rude.
I was like, oh my gosh, Kung Fu Panda just happened. And all I could do was laugh. I was like, oh my gosh, I can't believe this just happened. But we did have a lot of interesting stuff happen on set, like when the wild horses came up while we were filming and ended up being in the film because they didn't want to leave.
Right.
We were at the river and they wanted to stay. So we just continued to proceed with the filming while they hung out around set.
And as long as they signed the release, you're good to go.
Yeah, they're fine. They're fine.
But I think that's some of the fun things about working in indie film, because you do have a lot of those open set experiences. You can't, you guys don't have the money to hire security staff and to hire, get the city out there to block off an area for you. You just go with what you've got. And then those kind of random things just work their way into your day.
Yes, it makes it definitely an adventure.
Did you know that you were going to be collecting bugs when you went out there, or was that a spontaneous, we need your help?
That was so spontaneous.
Yeah, I would think so.
I was
Yeah.
not a bug girl.
I remember when I was a kid growing up in Michigan, I remember one time going out and catching lightning bugs. And it was such a cool thing to do. You know, they just turn on and they're right in front of you and you grab them and you pop them in the jar. And then we got home and turned the lights on and we saw how hideously ugly these things looked. And we're like, we've been touching these all night. What were we thinking?
Yeah, no, I don't like them.
Yeah.
I'm like counting 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. Okay, there's like 50 on me right now.
Oh, no.
Can I move? They were just like attracting to me because the light was bouncing right off me. I don't know. They were confused.
Yeah. Oh,
they were like, what light do I fly to, her or the real one?
Right. Yeah.
It was funny.
Oh, wow. But see, that's the other thing is that you, in indie film, you have to pitch in, you know, you're all a team and it's not just about the job that you're brought in to do. You just jump in and do whatever you need to do to help the production.
It's all about teamwork.
Oh, absolutely.
100%. Yeah.
Yeah. They don't happen without that for sure.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So I'm excited to see that. I think that's coming out. That's this year, isn't it? That they're planning on releasing it?
They were planning on releasing. They didn't give me the exact date of when they're going to release it, but it should be by the end of this year.
Oh, that's great. Definitely great. I can't wait to see that. So you did hair and makeup on that, but you're also doing like 84 other projects.
Yeah, I know. We got a lot of new projects coming up. I have Eminence Hill that I filmed early this year in January. That is being released in November. And that is a Western film. It's going to be very interesting because it's about outlaws that are trying to gain revenge and stumble upon a city that is not on the map, who is owned by basically a cult who does not take kindly to revenge and the situation that they're in. So the outcome is very interesting. There's death, there's survival, and there's that classic Western with saloons.
Right. And, you know, you could have just hired the praying mantis to kick everybody's ass and you would have been done.
Right. That praying mantis could have took care of it all.
Right. You know, I think if it was a male, he's just getting back for all the other males that get their head bitten off after sex and then they die, you know, at least they go out happy. But now what I really like what you told me when we were talking before the show was that you were really attracted to the script. So for you, how important is it to you where you're doing hair and makeup? You're not on screen. You're not acting in the film. How important is the story that they're telling for you to get interested to do the hair and makeup?
Well, I'm really intrigued by a storyline that grabs somebody's attention. Like one for Westerns. I grew up watching Westerns, so I'm really intrigued by Westerns. Something that has a suspenseful, and of course, if I can get a lot of blood in there, I have a lot of fun with that. Glamour and gore, that mixture, and that matters. Like it makes it my job funner. It keeps me on my toes and can bring my crew in and work alongside my crew. And
sure, yeah,
it's definitely important.
I know, like with some bands, some of the musicians don't care what the songs are about. They could sing about anything, and the guy's just like, I just want to play the keyboard, and I don't really care what our message is. And then there's other people that really stand up and say, you know, I don't want to be a part of something that doesn't have a message I don't believe in. And you would think that most people in your position or some of the background crew might not care what the movie's about, but I really like that you do.
I do. It's a representation of you. And the work that you get to do represents you as an artist.
That's very true. Very true. So in this one then, now you said that you grew up on Westerns. Are you talking about like the old classic reverb boots walking across the wood floor Westerns?
John Wayne.
Yeah.
Yeah. My dad watched those all the time. So I'd watch that. And I think that's too why I like suspense movies. And sci-fi. Like if there's sci-fi in there too, I'm all about it because that's what I grew up watching.
Oh, sure. I think what's really undervalued in Westerns, because I don't really know how many people watch the older Westerns these days, but they were amazing at building up suspense.
Yes, they were. You wanted to watch the entire film just to get to the end to see what happened.
And even though you know how it's going to end, or most likely how it's going to end, you still had to sit there and see it play out.
Yes.
Yeah.
You're like, you think you can pull it out like, okay, this is what's definitely going to happen, but I need to make sure this is right because they're really building up the suspense.
Exactly. And they're really playing it on that line so well that it could go either way.
Yeah.
Yeah. Very cool. Yeah. That's an interesting influence to have. I like that. So while you're doing this Western, then obviously you're outside a lot. Does that really make your job more difficult, especially in an area like the Phoenix area or, Tucson where you're shooting, and especially in the summer when it's really hot? Does that add a real extra challenge as far as the makeup and keeping the hair where it should be?
Yes. I mean, well, when it's hot, absolutely, because they're sweating. So just constant touch up. It's just using the right kind of makeup and making sure you keep your makeup cool because, or your hair products cool. Because I had learned my lesson that some things like to melt.
Oh yeah.
I bought some pomade, and I have this pomade, and I left it in my my kit outside. We were filming outside, and it was a full day, 10 hours. And I go back to my house after we're done filming, and I bring my stuff inside, and I opened it up to do my nightly cleaning, and all of my pomade containers are like shriveled up, like raisins. And I was like, what happened? It was only one day, but the plastic of the product actually had melted. Sure. So I just moved them all over to mason jars, learned my lesson.
Right. Yeah.
Now you just got to keep a little cooler for certain things and keep that nice and cool. Make sure there's good setting sprays for the actors. When it's cold, just make sure you layer up. But outside always brings definitely a lot of situations where you get to improvise and learn something new. Just like learn and adapt. So.
Yeah. And at least you're not dealing with humidity on top of all of that, because that's a whole nother challenge that is not fun from what I understand.
I don't envy that.
Yeah, but I can empathize. I mean, even if I've left my chapstick in my car, even overnight in July or August, I mean, you can just throw it away after that because it's never going to come back together.
No. Yeah. It's done separated. It's done and over with.
Yeah. Well, and because so much of what you shoot, I would imagine, is outdoors.
A lot of it is outdoors. I have a film coming up in December where we're going to be shooting all inside, which I'm looking forward to that because it's a hospital scene and a house scene. Okay. So,
and it's not outside when it is actually feeling like it's freezing in Arizona.
You know what? That is so true. I'm dying when it's 70 degrees. I got a sweater on, beanie gloves. He's like, what is wrong with you? I'm like, I'm freezing. It's 70 degrees.
People, they talk about it being a dry heat, but what it really comes down to is what you're acclimated to. So I grew up in Michigan where we had snow and it got very cold in the wintertime back then. And then when I moved out to Arizona, it took a year or so to really acclimate to those kind of temperatures. But now my body's like, look, 118 is about the worst you have to deal with. So I'm going to set your thermostat to be prepared for that. So when it gets to be 80, 75 degrees, you're going to be freezing.
It's true.
And then when people come from Michigan or Canada and it's in the middle of the winter, they're out there in shorts and a t-shirt just laughing at us because our thermostat's set completely differently.
That is so true.
Yeah. But being on set, that's a huge thing because you can't be shivering. No. And that's one thing that Dee and I talked about was when she shot Cujo, it takes place in the summertime. They're sweating in the car, but it was actually, they were freezing because they shot in November in Northern California. So they had to give the illusion that they were sweating and that they were, really hot in this car. Danny Pintaro's got his shirt off and, she's barely wearing any clothes and they were freezing to create the illusion of being hot.
Yes.
It's such a weird thing.
I mean, it gives us more work to do for us, but it's true. Like, as far as the actors go, when they're having to play on those scenes where we're filming and it's cold outside, but we're doing it for a summer role.
Right.
Or vice versa. It's hot outside and it's supposed to be snowing and they need to be bundled up with the red nose and cold. And it's like 115 outside.
Yeah. And my favorite are Christmas movies. When you think about they're shooting a Christmas movie in, the summer, maybe early fall, finishing up in early fall so they can have it out by Christmas. and you see they're shivering, they're bundled up, there's snow everywhere, but that's not what it feels like at all.
I know, poor things are actually sweating and dying and makeup touch-ups left and right.
Absolutely. Now, so this Western, you said that's coming out by the end of this year?
November, yes.
Oh,
it'll be
November,
released in November. Mm-hmm.
And that's not that far away, really. It's almost October already.
I know. It's exciting.
It really
I can't wait for it to come out.
I'm excited too. I hope I get to see it, because a lot of the indie films, because they don't hit Netflix or Amazon or whatever, I don't always get to see them, but I love when they do.
Yeah.
Because so many more people get to see your work.
It definitely gets to get out to more people.
Mm-hmm.
And that's good when it gets out to more people.
Well, and it seems like they're adding streaming channels all the time that are going to be looking for that content. So it seems like there's more and more avenues to get independent film out there, which is a beautiful thing.
It is. I mean, because you need something new in the industry. And I think that's where they look for it, is in the indie films, because maybe they're thinking something new, something creative, something that hasn't been done before.
Yeah. It's not that Hollywood formula.
Right.
Yeah. What can you tell us about another project of yours, Mother Misery?
Oh, I'm excited for this one, Mother Misery. That will be coming out. We're going to start shooting that one in December. Mm-hmm. It's basically about a mom who snaps. She had lost her husband in a drunk driving car accident. Mm-hmm. And her daughter ends up getting hit by a drunk driver as well. And she just takes matters into her own hands. Mm. And she just snaps. She wants revenge.
Right. That seems to be a theme. Did you take revenge out on the praying mantis?
You know what? I prayed for that poor thing. I was like, "Ooh, if I see you again, you are not my favorite person." I am ready with my mati mosca.
There you go. So this sounds like an interesting twist. Would it be considered a horror, or is it a thriller?
A little bit of both. Mm-hmm. I mean, we were talking about that. It's more of a thriller, but there is some scenes in there that could classify it as a horror film.
Those two genres really seem to be crossing over quite a bit these days. Mm-hmm. It's almost like they're kind of, so many movies are both.
Yes, I agree. If it can get you sitting on the edge of the seat, I really consider that a thriller, but also one that can scare you and give you nightmares or make that dread. I mean, there should be that classification where it's combined, a horror thriller.
Yeah, I would agree with that. And then there's another project that you have going, that's the original, based on the original Dick Tracy.
Yes. I was asked by Jay, drawing a blank name on his last name, but his name is Jay. He's doing a film based off the original Dick Tracy, the comic with the aliens. And we're currently ordered in all of our wardrobes. So as soon as that gets in, we're going to start shooting, hopefully before the end of the year.
That's fantastic.
So that'll be fun.
And all these are based out of Phoenix, or are you traveling for some of these?
These ones are based out of Phoenix. Yes. Okay.
There's such a community there. And even though it's evolved quite a bit over the years, since I started getting involved in Phoenix film, I think it was 2007. And it's grown so much. And then so many people have left to try their luck in LA or New York. And then other people have come back and rejoined the community, and new people have come in. It's just such an amazing camaraderie there.
It is. We all work together. We help each other. Like even with the makeup department, I'm friends with so many people within the makeup department and special effects that if I'm not able to do it, I'm referring somebody in the network that I know of.
Right.
And I'm sending them, and we're just helping each other out, working together, just a team of camaraderie that we have. And it's beautiful. It's definitely something you can appreciate.
I think that's the difference between having an industry and having a community. I think what you guys is, you have an industry, or you have a community that is the industry, as opposed to just people that come in and act or come in and do props or wardrobe or whatever. You guys really seem to support each other. There's not that, well, I can't give away this secret because then I won't be the only one that has it. It's like everybody just seems to share and work together.
Yes. It's not cutthroat. It's like we all want to be successful. We all want to achieve our goals, and the best thing we can do is help each other do that. Like you said, teamwork. teamwork makes everything successful. So
Yeah. And also, one of the things that I hear quite a bit, I first heard it in Jenna Fisher's book, the Actor's Guide. And then I've heard so many examples of this afterwards, that it's not about going after, big projects or trying to get in on something. It's mostly these days about creating your own art. And you can't do that if you don't have a group of people to work with.
I'd have to agree with that. Definitely have to agree with that.
So on top of all of these things, you're also working on another project that's Dark Side in Riverside. What can you tell us about that?
I am so excited about this one. Dark Side in Riverside is getting put on by the radio station 103.9. I'm Arizona based, so I always want to say 103.9. It could be 103.1. I'm sorry. I apologize if I messed that up. But Mike Aguirre, he put this together. He is with the owner of Corpse Crew and another, fellow member in the network. And he has gotten 5 makeup artists that we're all coming together, and we are going out to Riverside to do this 5K zombie event. That proceeds will be benefiting domestic violence survivors. And we are doing this event where we're going to have 6 different locations. People can come in, pay their way through this type of like a scavenger hunt. You have to get to each location without being touched or attacked by a zombie. And I will be one of the artists creating the zombies and getting their makeup done amongst the rest of us. So I'm excited.
That's going to be a very busy day for you, I would imagine.
It will. We have a certain amount of waves of people that we're going to bring in, 25 people at a time. And believe we're going to be doing up to 200 people per day. And we're doing it for 2 days.
Wow.
And then we're going to have special guests out there. The Friday the 13th panel is going to come out and talk and do a special thing. We're going to have Linda Blair. She's going to be there. She's going to be making an appearance. And a few other actors in the industry will be making some appearances. And
nice.
It's going to be a fun 5K.
I had the pleasure of meeting Linda a few years ago. I think it was back in 2013 or 2014 at a con that she was at in Tempe. And I went down there to support Victoria Page because she was there in her own booth, and met Linda, just absolutely lovely person. And she's got that dog preserve in Temecula that she's very passionate about.
Yeah.
So what kind of zombies are we talking about? Are we talking about is it like a zombie crawl where they really can't get at you too quickly, or are they like the psycho zombies that can run around?
They're going to be able to run around because this is a 5K.
Okay.
People, and we're going to be dressing up the zombies and getting them all ready for this 5K, and they'll be spread out. And everyone that gets involved in this 5K, they're going to have to get to location. And if they get touched by any of our zombies that we've created, they will then turn into one.
Oh.
Finish the 5K. And the goal is they're supposed to get through this entire scavenger / 5K without being touched.
Right. So if you and I were running in this and you got touched and you became a zombie and I'm still running, how would I know to avoid you?
You'll be tagged. You'll have the blood marks on you.
Okay. So I figured there had to be something significant to make it very obvious.
Right. And they'll be getting white shirts. So they have to be, everybody, the 5K, they'll be in white shirts. So when we tag them with the blood, you'll see them have blood marks on them.
This sounds like a lot of fun.
Oh, I'm excited for it. And we're doing some themes at our locations. Like we're going to have Rumpelstiltskin on one side.
Oh.
And then Snow White at the next one. We're going along with the kind of a Disney theme. Scary.
Yeah. Oh, that sounds like so much fun. And as somebody who, I've got my third Haunted Holidays album is coming out where I take classic Christmas songs and turn them into nightmares. And I can really appreciate what you guys are doing with that theme.
Yes, I love that. When you can twist stuff around and make it scary.
Yeah. Well, I mean, you're so used to it and it's like, okay, I've seen this, I've done that, I've been to Disney or whatever. But if you can find a whole new light to shine on that, it really makes it a lot of fun. And then you look at the other thing and the original thing, and you're like, I'll never see this the same way again.
That's true.
Yeah.
I think this, I can't remember the name of the film, but it was a Santa film and they had twisted it. I was like, I would never consider doing that until I seen it.
Yeah.
And I was like, it's so inventive and so creative and interesting.
Mm-hmm. Exactly. And, with all these remakes and things that people are doing, and sometimes they're just doing a straight remake of what we've already seen. I just want, tell the same story. If you're going to do that, tell it from a different perspective. Give us something new to explore, and new opinions to form, and new ways to think of it.
I agree. I completely agree with that.
Yeah.
So we're going to do this. It's going to be definitely fun. And I do have to make a correction. It's October 18th through the 20th. So it's 3 days, not 2 days.
Oh, 18th. So you're doing 600 people?
Yeah.
Wow. Well, that's gonna take you a minute.
We got a whole assembly. It's 5 artists. Yeah. So we have a whole assembly line going where we're going to be, to make it consistent, us is going to do the base and then the contouring and then the details, so they all look the same, and then a blood splatter. We're just going to kind of do it like in a assembly line.
Right. Well, that makes sense with that many people.
Mm-hmm.
And then does everybody start the race at the same time, or is it done in groups or sections?
I believe we're starting it all at the same time, because it starts at 6 p.m. and it'll end at 11 p.m.
Oh, it's at night. Perfect. I don't know why I was thinking it was early in the morning for some reason, but that makes way more sense.
And a lot more fun. Who's going to see the zombies?
Right. It's not fun to run for a zombie in the sunlight.
And it cracks me up is, I do the makeup, right? But once my characters get into character, I kid you not, I am the easiest person to scare.
Really?
That's why I'm looking really forward to this event, because I know I'm going to be screaming with the hands in the head, Jesus to come save me, and hiding between my fellow makeup artists who are going to be like, what is wrong with you? I just know how I am.
Yeah. So is it that you go ahead and do the makeup and then the race starts and that's it? Or are you going to be like doing touch-ups and things along the way?
They're going to be doing it into waves. So we'll have first 25 come in, we're done, and they're going to sit there and get set up. And then we're going to have a break in between and then do another set of 25. And then, so we're going to do all the zombies in waves and just keep adding more zombies. So the sooner you start, or the sooner you get in there, the less of a chance you have to become a zombie. I guess you're better. Right. Chances are getting through. So,
yeah.
Maybe it's just getting through the 5K.
Yeah, because you're having to avoid being touched by more people.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a good point. Is there some sort of prize or anything for the winner?
They have not talked to me about that far in the details, so I can't do that. But all the information is available on Facebook. Perfect. If you go on the page, I have it on my page. I post about it every single day. And as well, it is the Dark Side in Riverside, and you can pull that up. And
excellent. And I will put that link in the show notes for you guys to check out. And, it's a great time of year. The weather in Riverside should just be amazing in the evening to do something like this. Not too hot, maybe a little chilly, but certainly you're going to be moving around enough to where that body heat's going to generate, and it's just going to be a fun night. Oh, yeah,
I agree. I was thinking you can layer, but then at the same time, you're busy, you're going to get hot.
Yeah, I would think so. Especially if you're one of the later people and you've got to dodge everybody.
I know. I would be. I know who you are. I am not going to be near you.
Yeah, that's right. And as if all of this wasn't enough, there's still more that you're doing that we haven't even talked about yet. And this is why I didn't list all your things in the intro, because, here we are, we've been recording for a half an hour and we're still not even through all the current projects you've got going. You are in a very high position competing for a cover of Maxim magazine. You are currently number 2 in your slot as we're recording this on what is it today? Thursday. And, today is the cutoff for this round, and they're going to cut the top 10, go on to the next round, and you're number 2. I
know. Who would have thought that? I was like, I submitted just for fun. I wasn't expecting actually to be accepted in the competition. I was like, you know what? Why not? Let's just submit for it. They contacted me. They asked me to participate in their competition, so I went for it. This is bananas. I'm still in the running. I still have new supporters out there that are giving so much love and doing their warrior votes at that too, when we have our warrior vote that are 2-for-1 and helping the soldiers and helping our heroes that protect our country. That's amazing to be a part of that. And then just the opportunity to possibly be on the cover of Maxim.
Yeah, that's huge.
Yes.
I love that there's more to it than it just being a contest to be on a magazine. I mean, they're doing something. They're taking, you can pledge money to get extra votes. You get a free vote every day, and then you can pledge money to give your model of choice extra votes. And that money then goes to help the soldiers, which is really cool that people are thinking outside the box and wanting to take something and do something to better the world. I'm a fan of that.
I am too. I mean, because everything that they do for us, everything they do to protect us, the risks of their life to go out there and make a stand for humanity alone and come back with a lost leg or come back with just anything, a mental state where they need assistance and need help and can't do things on their own. The Wounded Warrior Project just helps them make sure they're successful, make sure that they're taken care of, make sure that they have the needs that they need to survive, giving them homes, helping them build homes, helping them with living expenses, anything that they need. So it's beautiful to be able to have that in this competition.
Yeah, and you're doing your part and you're generating that as well. And I'm kind of torn between that. I'm really glad that we have people out there that care and are willing to take the time and effort to help people. And I'm torn between that, and I'm so sad that we even need this.
I can agree, because I mean, I grew up in Reno, Nevada, and there were so many veterans on the corner. And I would, just me personally, I'd get off work, I'd go buy them lunch. Sit down and have lunch with them, hear their war stories.
Wow. I love that. I love that you would do that. So many people just don't care about anything anymore. And I understand that people are very busy. They feel like they have so little time. It feels like the heartbeat of the earth has sped up and the days go so fast. But to take a moment and have an interaction with somebody that's a complete stranger that needs some help, that's such a beautiful thing. I love that you do that.
Yeah, it warms my heart. But it's, even when you say that, it's like society's kind of like their own zombies.
Yeah.
And I want to be that person. I think that's why I enjoy life so much, is because it's so beautiful. Why follow the path of what they say to do? Help who you can. So.
Yeah, I just try to ignore as much as possible as far as what's recommended and what are the rules. I just do what feels right. I act very much off my intuition.
And that's good.
It makes me happy.
And that's good. As long as you're happy and happiness is within, follow your heart.
Exactly. And hopefully the things that I do spread to other people, and that, maybe something I say or something I do makes somebody else's day lighter, and then they go and turn and butterfly effect that to someone else. And that's really the goal. Is I just want to do what I can to make the world a better and happier place, because happy people don't do horrible things.
That's true.
At least not intentionally. And so, as if all that wasn't enough, there's still more. Yeah. It's unbelievable. You are the new spokesperson.
Yeah.
For a company. Go ahead and explain that, if you would, because you can explain it better than I can.
Yes. I just joined on with Seraphine Supplements. It is a supplement company that helps, protein, energy, sleep, pre-workout, cool down, everything that you need to work out and make your body healthy is what I'm working with right now. And they have a 6-week program, which I'm excited to do and work with them, because they give me the diet plan, they give me the exercise plan on top of the supplements that go along with it. And you have your results, just feel good about yourself. You do have great results. You get good muscles. It helps speed up your metabolism and burn fat. So I'm looking forward to working with them. It's going to be great.
Yeah, that sounds great. And the more that we can do, I think part of the problem with, as we were saying, with society, they seem so stressed because I don't think people are really sleeping well. I think they're sleeping quickly, but they're not really getting a solid night's rest because we're trying to cram everything we can into a day before we finally say, okay, that's it. I need to go to bed.
Because we don't want to miss out on anything.
Yeah. And I'm fully guilty of that myself. In fact, I'm probably one of the biggest offenders. The last 3 nights, I think I've slept, 3.5 hours. And, yeah, it does take its toll on you. If you don't really get decent rest, you are slower and less productive and less creative. So it really makes more sense to make sure that you get proper rest in there. So I'm glad that they've incorporated that into their program.
Yes, it's true, because your body goes into a shock. So if you're out there, say if you're a bodybuilder and you're out there, you're doing your workout, but you're only sleeping an hour, your body's not able to recover fully.
Yeah.
Or you lose your muscle mass and you lose your energy, and like those positive endorphins that it releases too, you lose that. So with this program, they incorporate that into there. So you take it so you can get that 8 hours of sleep, and it helps you get that 8 hours of sleep. So your body can really just fully heal itself and recover and be more alert the next day.
Absolutely. And it's hard from that ego side of thing, or that feeling like you're missing out side of thing, to really stretch and not go to bed until the very last minute and then be dragging the next day. So, I know it's the pot and the kettle, but I'm serious. Get your sleep. It's very important. Don't do what I do. It's wrong.
I fall, to it too. I'll be like getting so busy doing things. The next thing I know, because I'll get lost into my work at occasion.
Sure.
12 hours can go by and I'm like, oh, I've been doing this for, wait, what? 12 hours?
Yeah. Well, the tough thing for you too is because you're on set so much, or you're preparing for a film, getting different types of makeup together or deciding hairstyles and things like that. There's so much that goes into that. It's not just showing up to set on the first day of shooting and that's when you get involved. You're involved well before that.
Yeah, way before. Like going back to Mother Misery, I'm here since the beginning, since we started writing it, sitting down, doing the readings with the director and the writer and the producer, seeing what we need to edit in it as far as special effects, as far as our makeup need for the budget. It's from start to end.
Right. Because let's say, for example, that you're doing a pyrotechnic that's very close to an actor. You might not want to have them in frizzy hair or something that could easily catch that flame. You really have to plan around every little detail.
Every detail, every angle. Even you have to consider your lighting and your daytime and nighttime.
Right. Mm-hmm.
Everything.
Shadows, all of that. Yeah, it's all so vital to the final product. And I love people that take the time to really think about that stuff, because when you don't, it's very obvious.
Oh, yeah. I agree.
I mean, there's some work that you can do digitally to clean things up, but there's always something that gets missed, when you do things that way, and it's very apparent. So kudos for that. I think that's really the best way to do things, and that's why you come out with a great product that you can be really proud of when you get to show it to people.
Yeah, so you have that passion put into there, the thought process put into there. So.
Right. Well, what is it that happened in your life that led you to discover this was your passion?
Just the fact that I'm easily entertained. No, I've always loved makeup. I want to say since I was probably like 5 or 6.
Wow.
I do makeup. I love to play with hair. Like that was my theme. That's what I love to do the most. And then the older I got, I would be the one to cut my friends' hair, and I would do their makeup for homecoming and prom and get them ready and glammed. And then the older I got, helping out in weddings. And then I took a break for a while off a lot of it. And then something just hit me where I'm just like, you know what? I need to show my kids that even though you have a passion of doing what you want to do and you're doing it just for fun, you can make that your life choices and your career and your path and not have to be the cookie cutter.
Right.
So I started back into it again and got into the film industry and I said bye-bye desk.
Good for you. And do you feel like I do, where I often look at the situations that other people are in, and I look at my own situation, I feel so lucky that I figured out from a very early age what I wanted my life to be.
Yes, I feel like I'm blessed. I think we're all given a purpose, and you flourish in your purpose. Mm-hmm. And I guess less stressed and happier when you're doing my quote, I think I already said it once, is do what you got to do, get done what you need to get done, and have fun.
Right. No, that's perfect. And I just think that so many people either are afraid to go for their dreams, or they don't really know what it is that they're passionate about. and they just kind of get through life. They get stuck in a job and they've been there 2 or 3 years, and now you can't go somewhere else and make that kind of money. And now you've got a mortgage and you're just stuck in that life. And not that it's too late to go for your dream, because I don't think it ever is, but
Right.
it's a lot more difficult to find the stamina to do it.
Like, especially with that self-doubt there. I'm always trying to encourage somebody. If somebody says, I really wish, I wish I could do it.
Yeah.
Don't do it. Don't say, I wish I could. Just do it. Count to 3, find a way, look, and drive. Take that will.
Yeah. I've always said I would rather be at the end of my life in a nursing home with an IV of lasagna going, I'm glad I did everything that I could, even if I failed, than I would be sitting in that same nursing home going, God, I wish I would have tried.
I live the same way. I'm like, dude, failure is success. Once you learn your lesson, you keep on pushing.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. No, I really like that. And it's just, I hope that I never lose that perspective. I hope I always appreciate that facet of my life.
I think you will.
Oh, thank you. I think you will too.
Thank you.
For sure. And I'm so glad that you're getting all these opportunities, but that is an expression really of your efforts and your personality, and the fact that people have either seen your work or they've talked to somebody that you've worked with and they want to work with you too. The person that you are and the type of person you are in business really brings a lot more business to you if you can be dependable and you do good work and you have a positive attitude. And I think you hit the top on all 3.
It's been a blessing. Like, it's a lot of my work I do get through referral. So that's a blessing.
Mm-hmm.
And to bring people on that want to pursue it and they work with me, it's, I don't even have the words for it. I'm just very fortunate and grateful.
Right. Well, that's good. But I think that's it. The fact that you're humble about it and you're honest and genuine. Again, we go back to the honest and genuine thing. That is why people are like, I worked with this girl. She's amazing. She's great to be on set with. There's so much more than just being a talented artist. You have to have the personality. You have to have the business savvy. You have to be able to negotiate and do your own accounting and all the things that come together to allow us to do what we do, because it's not just enough to be good at what your talent is.
I agree. Now in today's society, that is so true.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it really is. So let's talk about, we've got Halloween coming up, not too far off the calendar. So you do a lot of special effects makeup as well. Obviously you're going to be doing the zombie makeup, but you do like wounds and different things. If I were to say I wanted to do a costume that was like really had some really cool wounds and stuff, but I don't want to get that typical, you go to Target and you get the wound in the arm kit. What would you suggest people kind of look for or study to make something look realistic?
Actual pictures. When I'm doing all my work, I actually do the research on the images, and sometimes it's really hard to follow.
Mm-hmm.
Say like there's a road rash. I pull up accidents and I look up bodies with the road rash. And when I do it, I just look at the wounds. I use my own latex and create my own wound itself.
Mm-hmm.
I don't buy the shelf, or I'll create a Prose transfer and put it on there. I start off with a dark base because it gives the depth. So I use, but do the research on the actual images. I'm very artsy and creative. So when I'm doing it, I just kind of look at it. I'm like, okay, this is what I want to do to add to it. And I blend with skin. I use my own makeup. Like I'll buy a L'Oreal foundation to match the skin color. Add the latex over, blend it, add the blood, kind of give a little fuck. I don't know how to explain it. It's just art.
Well, I think, and that's why I'm not a good trainer at anything, because I know in my head what to do, but to explain it to somebody else is not easy.
It's very difficult. I can show somebody.
Mm-hmm.
I can walk them through the steps and show them and give them the steps of what I'm doing. But it's really just doing the research on the image. What do you want it to look like? Then have that image next to you.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like painting a picture. But instead of using paint, you're using latex. You're using, I use Ben-Nye for my bruising kits and paint brushes.
Mm-hmm.
And then I make my own blood. So I'll use the cornstarch blend with chocolate syrup and food coloring.
And it's edible.
And oh yeah, it's edible. So you can pour that into, if you're doing like a dead zombie, you can actually drink it and actually drizzle down your face on its own.
Right. Yeah. You don't have to worry about like the old days of fake blood when it was toxic and we found out you shouldn't even be putting it anywhere near your skin, but we did it anyway.
We did it anyway. This, you can even drink it. Like I've messed around with my kids and I made a whole bowl of it and I dipped my fingers in there and I'm like, oh, blood. And I tasted it and they're like, oh, Mom. It was a Halloween thing. I'm like, I just had to mess with them. I'm like, Mom. I'm like, it's like candy tasting.
Well, and the great thing is in your line of work, you can literally do that to them anytime throughout the year.
I could.
Yeah, because it's when you throw them off guard that's when it's going to be the most shocking.
I could. They like to be my test subject. So they'll let me practice things on them. If somebody wants to see a sample of something, I'll do it on my kiddos. In the pictures. They're not scared of scary movies. They're like, oh, that's just chocolate syrup. Or, oh, that's just, ketchup or something. They're not. They thought Chucky was a funny movie.
Oh, okay.
5 years old.
Wow.
Because they're afraid, it's the filming industry is not real. And Mom does this and this and this to make it. So they have to do this and this to make it. So they thought it was a funny movie.
Yeah, I think that's the thing is that they're brought up seeing the other side of it, the back end of it, whereas the people that just see the stuff on the screen, they don't necessarily in their brain correlate that to that's only a puppet or that's just, a latex suit or whatever.
Exactly.
Yeah. Is latex a difficult material to work with when you're first getting used to it? Is it challenging?
I think when you first start to use it, because how quick it dries, if you remove the lid off of it, that's why I just pour a little bit out, use what I'm using as fast as I can because it dries quick. And I like to leave the plastics on my brushes because the bristles grab onto that latex so quick and so fast. And if you don't clean it off, your brush is done.
Right. And you can't be buying new brushes all the time.
Right. I do go with a stockpile, those 98-cent ones at Walmart, the wood. I have a whole stockpile of those, but I do try to keep the plastic on as long as I can as I'm doing until I need to do my finishing touches. Sure.
Yeah. Well, that makes sense because if you can get an extended life out of something that's basically designed to be disposable, with your budgets, whatever you get for each film, you have to replenish your supplies, you can't take all that out of your paycheck.
Exactly. And even time too, to keep switching out your brushes. If you can just keep dipping white, it makes it a little bit faster.
And I will say, I've seen your makeup case and I know that you have an insane amount of brushes.
I do. And I just keep buying more. That's something that you can never have too much of, brushes.
I think musicians like myself could probably identify with that because whenever we see a new instrument or a new effect on sale, oh, it's only a couple of bucks. I could probably use that for something. And then the next thing you know, you've got a hard drive full of these things. You don't even know what half of them are. You just remember you didn't pay a lot of money for them and we just stockpile them.
Or you forget you buy it. So you're going through your stuff and you're like, oh.
Yes.
I didn't realize I had this.
Yeah, there's been plenty of times I'm looking for a particular thing as I'm scrolling through my list trying to find it. I'll look at 8 other things and go, what the hell is that? I remember the name, but I don't even remember what it does. So I've actually started a spreadsheet where I have all of the list on there. And whenever I have something that I don't know what it does, I'll go check it out. I'll demo it a little bit. And then I write in a description so that I can just go, okay, here's what I want. And then I can find it on my spreadsheet and go, now I know what to pull up. But it's a ridiculously long sheet.
Oh, that's ingenious.
I had to do something to try and get some organization.
I'm going to kidnap that thought from you and use it.
Oh, do it. Yeah, absolutely. Now, we've talked about all this stuff that you have going on. And on top of that, you have children and you're on set and you're booking these things and you're learning different things all the time. What's your secret to balancing all of that so that you still have hair?
That's a really good question. I try to make time for it. I turn down jobs just so I can make sure that I can spend the quality time with the kids.
Mm-hmm.
So I balance it out that way. And I'm also able to bring my kids on set. So we're out of school on some of my sets. I'll be like, hey, it's not an overnighter. You want to come? And they get to come be my assistant. Like my daughter, she's phenomenal when it comes to makeup.
Mm-hmm.
She's 12. And I'll have her come on set and she'll be my assistant and work with me. My boys, I have 2 boys. One's 14 and the other one is 7. And they'll come hang out on set, watch it all, just be some observers. Or there'll be a 14-year-old boy. He loves to be a helping hand. So help carry the lights or the sandbags or whatever Janny may need. So can I help you?
That's awesome. Is he getting pretty knowledgeable? Like when you say, hey, can you hand me this? He's getting to learn what it is and could just go grab it.
Oh, yeah.
That's good. That's very good. That's the kind of assistance that really helps. I mean, you can have somebody that's there and wants to support you in any way that they can. But if they really don't understand what you do or don't know the specifics, they can sometimes be more of a hindrance than a help, regardless of, that's not what their goal is.
That's true. I agree. Because I can tell my kids anything to hand me out of my kit and they know what I'm talking about.
Yeah, that would be me if I was your assistant and you would say, can you hand me this and this brush? I would stare at your the box for like 2 or 3 minutes, trying to interpret what you said. And then I would bring back a brush and it would be the wrong one. And we would do that 5 or 6 times until I just brought you the case and said, here.
What do you want?
Which one is this? Yeah.
It's like that deer in the headlights.
Oh, totally.
What to do?
I mean, I've learned a lot from people like Victoria Page. When she did my album cover for Mental Sauna 2, we went shopping and we went makeup shopping and we looked at, outfits and different things. And I learned so much when I go out on those little outings. And it's stuff that I don't know why I retain it, but I do. So I would have a little bit of knowledge walking in, but with the stuff that you do, you've got so many different things. And what you need is typically so specific. It would be like a cow watching a train go by.
It's definitely interesting. Like to make a squib, I go to basically the bicycle aisle, the plumbing aisle, and the auto. 3 different departments. Just a blood splatter.
Right.
So it's pretty interesting. It is definitely a lot intake.
Yeah, and then you have to make multiples because you're going to have multiple takes of whatever that scene is, and you got to clean it off and get ready to reset for the next take. And you've got to have your next squib ready. There's so much involved in what you do. It's such a painstaking thing, but you're passionate about it. I can feel that in your voice.
Oh, it is so fun. If you, on my Instagram, I have some videos on there where you see me just playing with the squib, getting my assistants involved and just making some spray bloods just for fun.
Sure.
Let's work on this together. Let's see how this one works. Let's see how this blood works. Let's try one with some brain matter and throw some brain matter in it and see what pressure works best with it.
Yeah. And that's how you find the new and best ways to do things is experimentation, because you can sit there and you could write out a formula of how you want to do it, but without really trying it, you're not going to find, maybe more efficient or less expensive ways to do things that you need to do.
Exactly. You always have to try it, even if you've used it and done it 50 times.
Mm-hmm. And plus, it's just fun. It's what you do.
Oh, gosh, it's so much fun.
Is it hard to make a squib? Are you pretty used to those now?
Yeah, it's pretty easy to make it. I'll do, like the really basic one, I'll get a CO2 bike inflator. And I'll do that. I'll get an attachment at the auto valve extender, add that to the tip of the pump, and then you add a hose onto that and clamp it on. Fill it with blood, and there you go.
Wow. Do you have to get a special license or anything because they're projectiles?
You do have to have safety on set.
Mm-hmm.
So as long as there is safety on set, then you're fine.
Okay. That's good. That's good. Well, it sounds like so much fun. I used to really love the idea of doing special effects makeup, but I didn't have the patience for it. And if you don't have the patience for it, you can't do it.
I'd have to second that, because some of the stuff can be like tiny and tedious, or you'll have situations where you have to put a wound on somebody and say they're over sweaty.
Yeah.
I've had shit and nothing wants to fit.
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely nothing. You can use everything in your kit. Always have that extra super glue on hand or nail glue.
Yeah, that's a good tip.
It will dry out the skin some. I've learned that. Yeah.
Yeah, and you can't put powder down to soak up the sweat because now it's going to have to stick to the powder, which it's absolutely not going to do either.
Exactly.
Yeah. It's such an amazing thing. I think the thing with me is when I was growing up, it was such a neat thing because I'm a big horror movie fan. But it was something that I wasn't passionate enough about to pursue. But I have total respect for people who can do that kind of stuff because it really is a lot of patience and detailed work if you're going to make it look right. And in this world, with still frame and screen grabs and all that, you can't afford for it to not look good.
That's true, because what you're competing with now is technology.
Oh, yeah.
There's so many things that you're capable of doing on the computer based off of, things can get pulled off of the algorithm and edited into a program.
Right.
And you have to match that. And that's why, I'll even go to the extent of doing I'm getting messages coming. I'm doing a test on my finger, prick it, match the blood, and do a napkin, drop my own blood onto a napkin separately, and then get a sample of the blood out and make sure that it color matches.
Wow.
Because now with you're actually competing with technology. You want things to match and be more realistic.
Wow. That's a lot of effort. I love that you do that. And I have to ask you the obvious follow-up question then. When you're filming, especially because things are not filmed in order most of the time, is it difficult for you doing special effect makeup, especially with blood? Like, let's say that somebody's getting attacked and you shoot the attack scene and then you shoot a scene that was 2 days before and then you go to after the attack. Is it difficult to be consistent with how the blood dried on them, the direction that the blood took as it streamed down their face, to have that sort of continuity?
Absolutely. It is, honestly. For me personally, you got to take so many pictures just for continuity purposes. Mm-hmm. And the first run, you can get through it, get it done. And then when you have to go back and match it, it's going to take longer to match it.
Oh, sure. Yeah. And then you have to say, well, it's 2 hours later in the story, so the blood's going to be more dried than it was. It shouldn't be wet and drippy. It should be kind of, congealing at this point. Mm-hmm. There's so many factors that to make the movie look right from beginning to end, there's just so much that you have to do in your department.
Yeah. And you have to consider, okay, so, they just got blood all over them and they're going to wipe it off by the time they get to this scene. Mm-hmm. Or they're going to do something. But you need to make sure that you're consistent of their behavior. Right.
And not only that, but their clothing too.
Yeah, because their behavior can be, one person can use the back of their hand to wipe their forehead off. Mm-hmm. Another person can use the front of their hand. So you have to understand the character and the individual who is playing the character to make sure you're making the right calls on how you're going to do your effect.
I hadn't even considered that until you said it, but I could see absolutely what you're saying. That's so vital.
It is.
Wow. See, now I'm even more, I have even more respect for you guys.
Yeah, it is. That's why when I'm doing like dirt scenes, where they're military, I just got done doing a short for called Extracted. With that one, I give them a whole bunch of dirt. There's this product called Real Dirt. It's a spray dirt. I spray it in their hands. I get their hands dirty and I ask them, how would you wipe off a fly? How would you wipe off the tree? Just show me. And it kind of marks out the areas that they would naturally touch.
Right.
And then I go to those areas and do all my effects in those particular areas because it then identifies their natural movement.
Oh, that's interesting. At first, I like that Real Dirt is a spray-on.
It's awesome liquid.
It's just a little irony to me there that I'm suddenly a fan of. But yeah, that's so I hadn't thought about that. But that's true because you've also got, if they wipe with the front of their hand, then you've also got a different impression, the way that their thumb might go across their face. Whereas with the back of the hand, the thumb's not going to be accessible. So there's another potential streak that you have to deal with. There's so much to it.
Yeah. And then you kind of mix wardrobe with it too. because you're dealing with the wardrobe scene. But yet you need to, wardrobe wants to dirty them up. At the same time, you need the effects to dirty them up. So then you kind of work together, making sure that the character comes together through wardrobe and effects.
Mm-hmm.
Makeup.
Yeah. And that really comes back to having that team of people
Mm-hmm.
that you really like working with, because over time you get to read each other so well that you don't need to direct each other as much, and you just do.
Yes, you can work with each other, around each other. It's like organized chaos.
Right? Yeah. Yeah. In the middle of, them changing scenes and deciding that they want to do this instead of that. And you're like, but I don't have a wound. Okay, well, I guess I'll make one right now.
Yes. Yes. That is so true.
Yeah. And it's hard because there are directors that do absolutely stick to the script and their shooting schedule and their shot list. And there's other directors that just have that, you know what, though, I just had an idea and I think I want to try this. And then you guys are all scrambling to put it together because it's a last minute thing that you have to shoot right now.
Yeah. I'm like, wait, what? Wait, what? I wasn't prepared for this.
Exactly. And that especially in independent film, I've noticed is a very big thing. Like when you walk onto a set, you can have your script, you can have the rehearsals, you can read through it as many times as you want, but it's not uncommon for there to be a lot of last minute changes and surprises during the filming process.
Yeah. And then you even have to, when you're hit with something that was not in the script or you don't know about it or anything along those lines, you need to make sure that you're working with the director and the camera to make sure that they're getting an angle to catch something that you're trying to create, but also since you don't have all the proper tools to create it, you need to make sure you don't catch certain angles. Which gives a little bit more time for prepping for us while we're there. So it may add time on the actors and awaiting, but you got to cover those things and those aspects.
Oh, absolutely. And that goes back to the lighting and, camera angles and cinematography and everything else, because they all work together. And it doesn't do you any good to put a whole lot of effort into doing a wound or a special, maybe a spot where they got bit by something or they're exceptionally dirty and the lighting not pick it up.
Yeah. And we're going to catch it from angle A instead of angle B. So you just did work in an area that was unnecessary to shoot this image that they decided to create with a last minute decision.
Do you find that those conversations with the director is a fairly natural thing, or do you find that you get people that are combative?
Well, me personally, I don't have a problem with it. We just discuss it openly and figure out what we're going to do, come up with an action and a plan. Because I don't find it as an inconvenience when it happens to me. I find it more as an adventure and, I guess I get to learn something today.
Oh,
so
okay.
It's more of an adventure for me. So it's not something that I either combat with them or they need to combat with me, because I'm willing. If that's what y'all want to do, let's get it done.
Yeah. And I think that's part of that, why people want to work with you, because you're not somebody who gives attitude. You're somebody that is there for the team and there to make the picture better, instead of, I'm here to get another credit, or I'm here so I can do this so that people will see it. You're there because you love doing what you do.
I do. I love it so much.
That's awesome. I'm so glad, because you're such a nice person and you're so talented at what you do. The fact that you've connected with that passion, that you have the ability to actually do it and spend so much time doing it. I absolutely love when people are doing what they were born to do.
Thank you. Thank you.
So thank you so much for taking some time out of your craziness to come on the show and talk about all these amazing things that you've got going on. The list is endless. And honestly, everything that we talked about today is just really the tip of the iceberg, because it's just, you've got so many things that are going to be happening after all of this, that this is like a drop in the water for you.
Definitely a lot more stuff to come, and a lot of stuff that has passed. And I love it.
Yeah.
Thanks for having me.
Absolutely. And I wish you the absolute best on all these films. I especially can't wait to see Maya, because I know so many people involved with that one. But honestly, every one of these projects sounds just amazing.
I can't wait for all of them. It's going to be
well, do come back and
on social media. You'll see all of them once they're released. I'm going to have the links where you can see them and how you can see them. And
oh, sure. Yeah, and we'll have your links in the show notes so that people know where to find you. And then once they find and follow you, then they'll get all the posts about the new projects coming out and new ones that you're putting together and the insanity and your amazing life.
Yes, I would love to share a lot of the stuff with them.
And maybe purchase your Maxim cover.
Oh, bananas. I'd appreciate some votes. I would just appreciate it.
Yeah. So obviously we're recording this show at the end of September, and it won't air for a little bit yet. But since I already know that you're going to make it into the next round, because how can you not? This will be an ongoing thing for a while. So I'll post that link in the show notes as well so that people can go there and vote for you. I can honestly say that I looked at the group that you're in, and I'm sure that that's just assigned randomly, but so many people, they just don't look happy.
You know, I've noticed that, and I wonder why they're doing the competition, because there is, you know, bonuses for winning.
Sure.
I'm just fortunate enough to be in a second place, and I'm able to project that I'm enjoying what I'm doing. I just did the photo shoot most recently, doing some warrior poses and birthday poses that will be put out as soon as it should be like in 2 hours.
Oh, awesome. Yeah.
We'll be uploading that and then the video from YouTube about what it means to me being in Maxim competition.
Mm-hmm.
I'll be uploading soon too.
For sure. I cannot wait to see that. I think that's going to be so much fun. And it just seems like with everything that you do, you're passionate about it. Like why do it if you're not?
That's exactly how I live.
Yeah. That's something that I think we all need to adapt.
Do it because you want to do it. And don't allow anybody to tell you what you should do, because you're an individual. Make your heart.
And at the end of the day, you're the one that has to look yourself in the mirror and decide whether you had a day that you can be proud of, or that you maybe learned something that you want to correct to make tomorrow better. And, you know, I just don't want to be one of those people that looks in the mirror, goes, life ran me over.
Yes. And even if it does, you learn with experience. I always say, some people I've heard, you know, you're starting over, starting new. I've started over, started new as well. And you're starting with experience now. Like, this is awesome.
Very true. And I will say, though, if life ever does run me over, I will take pictures of the wounds and send them to you so you can recreate them.
I would. Oh my gosh, I feel bad for my mother.
Well, I am keeping my fingers crossed for all these amazing things going on, and do come back and visit us again.
I would love to, definitely.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Victoria. We'll talk soon.
Thanks, Scott.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Well, there you have it. I mean, she is just so bubbly and so much fun. How can you not want this person to succeed in life? I mean, how can you not stand behind somebody who's that passionate, that works that hard, really knows what they're doing, and cares enough to know what they're doing? So go check out her Maxim video if you are in the area of Riverside, California, October 18th to the 20th. Go check out Dark Side at Riverside. So I apologize again for the phone connection. Sometimes it's clean and sometimes it's not. We just get what we can get and go from there. In the meantime, please feel free to write me at scott@scotthaskin.com. Follow the podcast on Podbean, iTunes, Google Play, anywhere you like. Send some feedback and share it with others so that we can help spread the word of the show. Thank you guys. We'll see you next week with another episode. Cheers.